The transport ship broke through Earth's atmosphere with a sound like thunder. Commander stood at attention on the landing platform, his uniform pressed sharp despite the wind. Behind him, 500 soldiers waited in perfect formation. They were the best Earth had to offer: special forces, Marines, Rangers, all volunteers. Watched the alien vessel touch down. It was massive, shaped like a crescent moon made of metal that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. The landing ramp lowered with a hiss of pressure, and steam rolled across the platform. General emerged first. He was tall, maybe 8 feet, with a body that looked like it was made of dark purple chitin. His 4 arms moved in gestures that translator device interpreted as greeting. 2 large compound eyes dominated his face, reflecting light like oil on water. "Commander of Earth's voice came through the translator as clicks and whistles turned into words. "Your planet honors the coalition with these warriors." Saluted, "We're ready to serve, General." His mandibles twitched. It might have been a smile or a laugh, couldn't tell. "We shall see." 3 days later, stood in his office aboard the Coalition forward base Sigma. The space station orbited a dead moon, gray and pockmarked with craters. Through the viewport, could see other ships coming and going. Dozens of species, hundreds of vessels. This was the front line against the Ravager horde. "Your physical reports are concerning," said. He tapped her with one of his claws. "Humans are classified as Class 3 fragile species. Your bones break easily. Your skin tears. You require feeding every few hours. You even need to consume water constantly." "We're tough enough, sir," replied. "Tough" made that clicking sound again. "Commander, most coalition species can survive wounds that would kill your kind instantly. Your pain tolerance is rated among the lowest in the galaxy. And these weapons," he gestured to his rifle leaning against the wall, "projectile weapons. We stopped using kinetic firearms 3,000 years ago." "They work, sir." "They're primitive." Set down the. "I'm assigning your battalion to rear guard duty, supply depot protection. You'll be safe there while you learn how real combat works." Wanted to argue, but he held his tongue. "Yes, sir." The supply depot was a massive warehouse complex on the station's lower levels. Corporal organized the medical supplies while Private checked weapon inventories. The other soldiers set up defensive positions and patrol routes. "This is bullshit," muttered. He was young, maybe 22, with a scar on his jaw from some bar fight back home. "We didn't travel across the galaxy to guard boxes." "We guard what we're told to guard," said. She was small, barely 5'4", but had seen her carry wounded men twice her size. "Besides, this gives us time to learn how things work here." "She's right," said, walking up to them. "Stay sharp, study the other species, learn the station layout. When we get our chance, we'll be ready." That chance came sooner than expected. The alarm woke from a dead sleep. Red lights flashed throughout the barracks. His translator crackled with panicked voices in a dozen languages. "All personnel, combat stations. Ravager forces have breached the outer hull. This is not a drill." Was dressed and armed in 30 seconds. Around him, his soldiers did the same. Years of training made it automatic. "Get to the medical bay, take 3rd Squad to the East Corridor. Everyone else, defensive positions." The depot entrances sealed automatically, heavy blast doors slamming down. Through the security monitors, watched chaos unfold in the station corridors. Aliens ran in panic. Some fought. Many died. The Ravagers looked like they were made of nightmares. Massive creatures covered in black scales, walking on 4 legs but with arms that ended in blade-like claws. Their mouths opened to reveal 3 rows of teeth. They moved fast, tearing through coalition soldiers like paper. "They're coming from 3 directions," reported from her station, "hitting the supply depot from multiple angles." "Let them come," said calmly. "Everyone hold position, wait for my mark." His comm crackled. It was, "Commander, evacuate the depot immediately. You don't have the firepower to hold. Negative, sir. We're not leaving our position. That's an order. Your species cannot survive this type of combat. With respect, General, you're wrong. Switch to the battalion channel. All units weapons free. Show them what humans can do. The first Ravager crashed through the east door. Squad opened fire. The sound of gunfire was different from energy weapons. Louder, more violent. Bullets tore through the creature's armor, punching holes that sprayed dark blood. It screamed and charged forward. Stood his ground. He fired in controlled bursts, aiming for joints and weak points. When the creature got too close, he dropped his rifle and pulled a combat knife. The blade flashed. The Ravager fell. More coming, someone shouted. They poured through every entrance. 10 Ravagers, 20, 50. The depot became a killing ground. Human soldiers fired, reloaded, fired again. When they ran out of bullets, they used grenades. When grenades were gone, they used knives. When knives broke, they used their hands. Shot a Ravager in the face, then clubbed another with his rifle butt. Beside him, a private named fought with a broken arm, still firing one-handed. Another soldier had blood streaming down her face from a head wound, but she kept throwing grenades with mechanical precision. In the medical bay, worked on the wounded while aliens watched in shock. A soldier was brought in with a piece of metal stabbed through his stomach. By all coalition medical knowledge, he should be dead. Pulled it out, packed the wound, gave him painkillers. "Get back to your position," she told him. He grabbed his rifle and left. The alien medic stared. "That's impossible," one whispered. "He should be dead." "He's not," said simply. "Now help me with the next one." The battle lasted 3 hours. In his command center watched the monitors in disbelief. Humans fell. Humans bled. But humans didn't break. They fought with injuries that would incapacitate any other species. They dragged their wounded back to cover and kept fighting. They improvised weapons from anything they could find. One human soldier ran out of ammunition and tackled a Ravager with his bare hands. They rolled across the floor, the human somehow finding the strength to choke the larger creature until it stopped moving. "What are they?" Zaid whispered. Finally, the Ravagers retreated. They'd lost too many. The cost was too high. They pulled back and disappeared into the breached sections of the station. They'd started with 500 soldiers. 302 could still fight. 146 were wounded but alive. 52 were dead. 0 ground lost. When arrived at the depot, he found organizing the defense repairs. The commander's uniform was torn and bloody. He had burns on his hands and a cut above his eye. He should have been in medical. "You held," said. "It wasn't a question." "We held, sir." 300 casualties. "Yes, sir." That would devastate any other unit. They'd break, surrender, flee. Looked at the general. "We're not any other unit, sir. We're human." Was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled up his and started accessing files. Earth history files. Wars that lasted years. Battles fought in conditions that would kill most species. Soldiers who'd held impossible positions against impossible odds. "Commander," said slowly, "I need to ask you something. Is Earth truly classified as a Category 7 death world?" "I don't know your classification system, sir." Category 7 means the planet actively tries to kill everything on it. Extreme gravity, violent weather, predators everywhere, diseases, toxins. Looked at with new understanding. "Tell me, Commander, what's normal gravity on Earth?" 1G, sir. Mandibles clicked rapidly. 1G was nearly twice the standard gravity most species evolved under. And your atmosphere? 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen. That's a high-energy atmosphere. And the predators? Almost smiled. "Sir, humans are the apex predators on Earth. We had to become that to survive." Looked at the depot, at the human soldiers patching wounds and checking weapons, at the Ravager bodies being dragged away, at warriors who'd held a line that should have broken. "You're not soldiers from a peaceful world," said quietly. "You're survivors from hell." "We prefer to call it home, sir," said. "Now, when do we get our next assignment?" The alert came at 400 hours, was already awake, reviewing tactical reports in his quarters when the station shook. Explosions echoed through the metal walls. This wasn't a probe like before. This was a full assault. "All human forces to defensive positions." His voice cut through the comm channels. "This is what we trained for." The Ravagers hit the station from 6 different points. Their ships latched onto the hull like parasites, cutting through the metal with plasma torches. Coalition forces scrambled to respond, but they were scattered, disorganized. The attack had caught them during shift change. Battalion was already moving. They'd learned the station layout by heart during their rear guard assignment. Every corridor, every access tunnel, now that knowledge paid off. "Take your squad to Junction 12, ordered. "That's where they'll try to flank." "On it, sir." Ran with his team, weapons ready. They reached the junction just as Ravagers poured through a breach in the wall. The creatures roared when they saw the humans. They'd learned to recognize them, learned to hate them. Opened fire. His rifle kicked against his shoulder, brass casings raining onto the floor. Beside him, a soldier named fired his shotgun at point-blank range. The boom echoed like thunder. Ravager blood painted the walls. But there were too many. They kept coming. One Ravager got past their firing line and slammed into. The impact sent him flying into the wall. He felt something snap in his left leg. Pain shot up his spine, white-hot and blinding. "Down," shouted. "No, I'm not," pulled himself up using the wall. His leg bent at an angle that made look away. Bone had punched through the skin. It should have been impossible to stand. Stood anyway. He switched his rifle to his left hand, using the wall for support, and kept firing. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3. Each bullet found its mark. Ravagers fell, didn't. "You crazy bastard," breathed, but he was smiling. He stood beside and they held the line together. In the medical bay, worked faster than she'd ever worked before. Wounded poured in from every section. Coalition soldiers with energy burns. Humans with gunshot wounds, broken bones, and worse. She moved between them like a dancer, her hands steady even as the station shook from explosions. An alien doctor, a creature that looked like a purple octopus with too many eyes, watched her work on a human soldier. The man had taken a Ravager claw through the chest. The wound went deep, probably punctured a lung. He should have been in shock, dying. Instead, he was conscious and arguing with. "I can still fight," the soldier gasped. "Not with one lung you can't," said. She injected something into his arm. "You'll be back out there in an hour. Now shut up and let me work." The alien doctor's tentacles waved in confusion. "He's not sedated. You're performing surgery while he's conscious." "He doesn't need to be asleep for this," said, her hands moving with practiced efficiency. "Human pain tolerance is higher than you think, and we heal fast." "That's impossible. Your species is rated Class 3 fragile." Looked up, her gloves bloody. "Your rating system is wrong." An explosion rocked the medical bay. The lights flickered. Alarms screamed. A breach opened in the far wall and Ravagers poured through. The alien medical staff scattered in panic, pulled her sidearm and fired without hesitation. 3 shots. 3 Ravagers fell. The wounded humans who could still move grabbed whatever weapons they could find. The man with the punctured lung picked up a scalpel. Another soldier with burns covering half his body lifted a metal tray like a shield. They formed a line between the Ravagers and the helpless patients. "You want them," shouted at the creatures. "You go through us first." The Ravagers charged. The humans met them head-on. In the command center, watched his monitors in growing horror and amazement. Every camera showed the same story. Humans fighting with wounds that should have killed them. Humans dragging themselves forward with broken limbs. Humans who refused to die. One camera showed still holding his position at Junction 12. He'd been there for 20 minutes now. His leg bone was visible through torn flesh. Blood pooled around his feet. He swayed like he might fall at any moment, but he kept firing, kept killing. "Get that soldier medical attention," ordered. "We've tried, sir," his aide replied. "He refuses evacuation, says he can't leave his position." Another monitor showed a human soldier, a woman named Bora, fighting with her arm hanging useless at her side. The limb was clearly broken, twisted wrong. She'd strapped her rifle to her good arm and was firing one-handed. When a Ravager got close, she used the broken arm as a club. The pain must have been incredible. She didn't stop. Scom crackled. "General, this is Commander. We're holding all positions. Request permission to counterattack." "Counterattack? Commander, you have 60% casualties." "60% wounded, sir. Not dead, and wounded humans can still fight." "That's madness." "That's humanity, sir. We don't break, we don't retreat, and we sure as hell don't let these things take our station." His voice was calm, like he was discussing the weather. "Now, permission to counterattack." Looked at his monitors again, at humans who shouldn't be standing, at warriors who refused to accept defeat, at survivors from a world that had forged them into something the galaxy had never seen. "Permission granted, Commander. Show them what death can do." Switch to the battalion channel. "All units, this is Commander. We're done playing defense. Time to take the fight to them, for Earth." "For Earth!" 500 voices roared back, even the wounded ones. The humans pushed forward. They moved through the station like a storm, turning every corridor into a killing ground. Coalition soldiers watched in disbelief as humans advanced through sections they'd abandoned. The humans didn't just hold ground. They took it back. A squad led by a sergeant named Minu reached the main breach point. Ravagers were still pouring through, bringing reinforcements. Minu pulled out explosives from his pack, setting them with quick, practiced movements. "How long until boom?" one of his soldiers asked. 30 seconds, Minu replied. "Plenty of time." "That's not enough time to get clear." Minu grinned. "Then we'd better run fast." They planted the charges, then sprinted back down the corridor. The explosion followed them like an angry god. Fire and debris filled the passage. The blast waved through them forward, but they rolled with it, trained and ready. The breach sealed itself with twisted metal and Ravager bodies. "One down," Minu reported, moving to the next one. By 800 hours, the tide had turned. The Ravagers found themselves trapped in the sections they'd captured. Humans surrounded them, closed in, showed no mercy. When the creatures tried to retreat, they found their escape routes cut off, sealed, booby-trapped. The last Ravagers died fighting in a cargo hold, surrounded by humans who'd survived everything they could throw at them. The creatures screamed in frustration and rage. How could soft species be so hard to kill? When the battle ended, stood in the main corridor, watching medics tend to the wounded. Coalition and human medics worked side by side now. They'd learned to respect each other, to trust each other. Approached him, her uniform covered in blood. Not all of it was hers. "Final count, sir. 204 combat capable. 189 wounded but stable. 52 dead from the first attack, 17 more from this one." "We held," said simply. "We did more than hold, sir. We won." Found them there. The general looked different somehow, less arrogant, more thoughtful. "Commander, I owe you an apology." "No need, sir." "There is every need," gestured at the battlefield around them. "I called your species fragile, weak. I was wrong. I've been reviewing Earth's history, your wars, your survival, and I'm beginning to understand." "Understand what, sir?" "Why you don't break." Pulled up most coalition species evolved on stable worlds, moderate gravity, safe environments. We developed civilization in peace. But humans, you evolved fighting, Every day was a battle to survive. Your planet tried to kill you. Other predators tried to eat you. Diseases, weather, famine, everything wanted you dead. That's just life, sir, said. No, Commander, that's hell, and you survived it. That survival instinct runs in your blood, your bones, your very DNA. When other species would quit, humans push harder. When we accept defeat, you find another way. You're not soldiers, you're, paused, searching for the right word. You're evolved survivors, the galaxy's ultimate warriors. Didn't know what to say to that. Around them, human soldiers laughed and joked despite their wounds. Was being carried to medical, finally allowing treatment. He gave a thumbs up as he passed. His broken leg dangled uselessly, but he was grinning. There's something else, said quietly. The Ravagers, they're retreating from this sector. Our intelligence says they've marked human units as extreme threat in their tactical database. They're afraid of you. Good, replied, they should be. The Coalition Council wants to meet with you. They're voting on expanding humanity's role in the war. We'll do whatever's needed, sir. His mandibles clicked in what had learned was respect. I know you will, Commander. That's what worries the Council, and why it gives me hope. Doctor arrived at Forward Base Sigma 3 weeks after the battle. She was one of Earth's leading experts on alien life. The Coalition had requested her specifically. They wanted to understand humans better, needed to understand them. She found in the training room, watching his soldiers run exercises. Even with their wounds still healing, they pushed themselves hard. A soldier named was doing pull-ups with his left arm in a cast. Another ran laps despite the limp from her injured leg. They don't rest, observed. Can't afford to, replied. Next fight could come any time. Commander, I need to borrow some of your people. The Coalition Science Division wants to run tests. Raised an eyebrow. What kind of tests? Non-invasive. They want to study human biology, understand why you can survive what kills other species. Take who you need, just have them back for duty. The Coalition medical facility was state-of-the-art, filled with equipment from 100 different worlds. Doctor worked alongside 3 alien scientists. They ran every test they could think of. First was Sergeant Minu. He sat on an examination table, relaxed despite the alien scanners pointed at him. One of the scientists, a crystalline being named OK, studied the readouts with growing confusion. Your bone density, OK said through the translator. It's 3 times standard Coalition baseline. That normal for humans? Minu asked. Average, actually. We evolved under higher gravity, made our bones stronger. Stronger? OK's crystal body flashed colors that indicated shock. These bones could support twice your body weight. How do you move so fast with such dense skeletons? Practice, Minu said with a grin. They tested his muscle fiber next. The results were equally surprising. Human muscle was designed for endurance and explosive power. Most Coalition species had one or the other. Humans had both. Then came the pain tolerance test. They applied gradually increasing pressure to Minu's hand. Standard protocol was to stop when the subject showed distress. Most species stopped around level 3. Minu reached level 7 before he mentioned it was uncomfortable. Level 7, the alien doctor couldn't believe it. That should cause severe pain. Does hurt a bit, Minu admitted. But I've had worse. Broke my ribs during training once. Finished the exercise anyway. You continued operating with broken ribs. Well, yeah, they weren't gonna heal faster if I laid down. Doctor pulled up a chart on her. This is normal human pain response. We evolved to keep functioning through injury. On Earth, stopping because something hurts means you die. Predators don't care if you're wounded. Weather doesn't stop because you're tired, so we learned to push through. Next they tested corporal. The medical staff was particularly interested in human healing factors. They'd seen the wounded from the battle. Soldiers who should have died were back on light duty within weeks. Your cellular regeneration rate is remarkable, an alien medic said, looking at tissue samples. Comparable to species with active regeneration abilities, but you don't have those specialized cells. How? Our immune system explained. It's incredibly aggressive. Earth is full of diseases, viruses, bacteria. Our bodies evolved to fight everything. That same system helps us heal faster. But the cost must be enormous. Autoimmune disorders, allergic reactions. We have those, admitted. But the trade-off was worth it. Healing fast meant surviving long enough to reproduce. They brought in Private next. His leg was still in a cast, but he walked without crutches. The alien doctors examined the healing bone with instruments that hummed and beeped. Impossible, one whispered. The fracture was severe, complete break. He walked on this leg for 20 minutes during combat. The bone should have shattered completely. He should have severed arteries, bled out. But I didn't, said cheerfully. The adrenaline response brought up more data. When humans face extreme stress, our bodies flood with chemicals that enhance everything. Strength increases, pain decreases, blood clotting improves. We become temporarily superhuman. Temporarily, OK asked. How long does this last? As long as the threat continues. I've read reports of soldiers fighting for hours in this state. The energy cost must be devastating. It is. After the adrenaline fades, humans crash hard, but in the moment we can perform feats that seem impossible. The tests continued for days. They studied human diet and were shocked to learn what humans considered food. Capsaicin, a chemical weapon to most species, was something humans ate for pleasure. Alcohol, a poison, was a social drink. Caffeine, a dangerous stimulant, was consumed daily in massive quantities. Sergeant Menu demonstrated this during lunch. He ate rations labeled spicy chicken while chatting with Doctor. An alien soldier, curious, asked to try a bite. One bite. The creature's equivalent of a face turned bright green and it rushed to medical, screaming about poison. It's not that spicy, Menu said, confused. To them it is, replied. Humans can handle mild toxins because Earth is full of them. We evolved to eat dangerous things. Had to, couldn't be picky when food was scarce. The final revelation came when they studied Earth's environment in detail. The coalition classification was correct. Earth was a Category 7 death world, the highest danger rating possible. Doctor presented the findings to a packed briefing room. Coalition officers, scientists, and politicians from a dozen species listened in growing horror. Earth's gravity is 1 g, began, nearly double the galactic standard. This means human children grow up carrying twice the weight most species do. It makes us incredibly strong by comparison. She pulled up an image of Earth, blue and green and beautiful, deadly. Earth's atmosphere is 21% oxygen, high energy. It lets us burn calories faster, move quicker, think sharper. But it also means our world is prone to fires. Lightning strikes can start infernos that burn for months. Next slide. Animals, lots of animals. Earth's predators. We have creatures that can kill adult humans easily. Bears, lions, crocodiles, sharks, venomous snakes and spiders. Humans evolved not as the strongest but as the. We used tools and teamwork to survive what should have eaten us. The alien audience shifted uncomfortably. Earth's diseases. We have viruses that can kill millions, bacteria that eat flesh, parasites that take over the brain. Human immune systems are in constant warfare, every day, every hour. This made us resilient but also aggressive at a cellular level. And the weather, someone asked. Hurricanes with 300-kilometer winds, tornadoes that destroy cities, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, droughts, floods. Humans had to adapt to everything because Earth has everything. Silence filled the room. But here's what you need to understand, said. Humans don't see Earth as a death world, we call it home. We love it, All those challenges, they made us who we are, strong, stubborn survivors. Doctor, what does this mean for the war? It means humans are the most combat-ready species in the galaxy, and we didn't even know it. Every human is a survivor. Every soldier is elite by galactic standards. Your average coalition warrior trains for years to reach peak condition. Humans are born into it. We grow up fighting gravity, fighting disease, fighting to survive. Are they dangerous? Someone asked from the back. Extremely, admitted, but only to enemies. Humans are also highly social, loyal. We bond with our units, our allies. Once you're part of a human's pack, they'll die before they let you down. Process this. The Council needs to decide humanity's role going forward. Some members are nervous, afraid. They should be afraid, said Captain. She'd been promoted after the battle, now led 3 companies. But not of us. Be afraid of what happens when you point us at your enemies. The council debate lasted 3 days. Some species wanted humans restricted, others wanted them expanded. The Ravager horde was winning the war. Coalition forces were losing ground. They needed something to change the tide. Finally, the vote came through. Humanity would be given a special assignment, a test of their capabilities. If they succeeded, Earth would become a full military partner. If they failed, well, nobody expected them to fail anymore. Delivered the news to personally. There's a colony world, Praxis 7, 2 million civilians. The Ravagers have taken it. They're building a breeding hive in the underground. We need a strike team to go in, plant charges, and evacuate survivors. How many teams are you sending? Asked. 1, yours, 50 soldiers, deep insertion, high casualties expected. Was quiet for a moment. Expected by who? By every military strategist in the coalition, by the computers, by conventional wisdom. Good thing we're not conventional, pulled up his roster. I'll need as second in command for medical, mean you for demolitions, for scouting. Commander, this is a suicide mission. Only if we die, replied, and we're really bad at dying, sir. His mandibles clicked in what might have been a laugh. I'm beginning to believe that. You have 48 hours to prepare. Choose your people carefully. The galaxy is watching. Let them watch, said. Time to show them what humans can really do. In the barracks, word spread fast. 50 volunteers needed for a deep strike mission. Casualties expected. No guarantee of survival. Within an hour, every soldier in the battalion had volunteered. Had to turn away 450 warriors. Each one looked disappointed they wouldn't get to fight. Captain helped him select the team. The best scouts, the strongest fighters, the tacticians, and every single one was someone who'd proven they wouldn't quit, couldn't quit, didn't know how to quit. Think we can pull this off? Asked. Checked his rifle one last time. We're human, we're not supposed to pull anything off. We're supposed to be extinct, but we're still here, still fighting. That's what we do. Death. Damn right. The fell through Praxis 7's atmosphere like a stone wrapped in fire. Inside, 50 humans sat strapped to their seats, weapons secured, faces calm. They'd been briefed. They knew the odds. They didn't care. Commander stood at the front, one hand gripping an overhead bar as the ship shook. Listen up. Our mission is simple. Get in, plant the charges, find survivors, get out. The hive is underground, 12 levels deep. Intelligence says about 5,000 Ravagers are down there. So 100 each, someone joked. Easy day. Nervous laughter rippled through the team. Allowed it. Humor helped. Fear was useful, but terror was death. Captain will lead Alpha Team. Left flank. Sergeant Minu handles the charges. Corporal sets up medical station at Rally Point Beta. Private scouts ahead with Bravo Team. I'll coordinate from center. Any questions? Silent, these were professionals. Good, remember, the Ravagers will try to separate us. Stay in teams. Watch your corners, and most importantly, his voice hardened. We don't leave anyone behind, living or dead. Everyone comes home. Sir, yes, sir. The hit ground hard, ramps dropped. 50 humans poured out into a ruined city. Praxis 7 had been beautiful once. Now it was a graveyard, buildings collapsed, streets cracked, bodies everywhere. Some were colonists. Others were coalition soldiers who tried to evacuate them. Hive entrance is 2 clicks north, reported, checking her scanner. Multiple heat signatures. They know we're here. Of course they do, said. We didn't come here to be sneaky. Move out. They ran through the ruins, fast, efficient, human endurance kicking in. Most coalition species would need breaks, rest periods. Humans just kept going. 1G gravity was nothing. The atmosphere here was breathable but thin. For humans from Earth, it felt like running at altitude, uncomfortable, manageable. Ravagers appeared from side streets. Not the full hive, just guards, sentries. They screamed and charged, mistake. Alpha Team didn't break stride. They fired while moving, bullets finding targets with practiced precision. Ravagers fell. The humans ran past their bodies without slowing. Contact left, someone shouted. Handled, came the reply, followed by the boom of a shotgun. They reached the hive entrance in 12 minutes. A massive hole in the ground carved through concrete and metal. Organic matter coated the edges. Ravager construction. It looked like something between a throat and a tunnel. Dark, deep, terrifying. Beautiful, Minyu said sarcastically. He pulled out scanning equipment. I'm reading support structures every 50 meters. We blow those, the whole thing comes down. How long to plan all charges? Asked. 90 minutes if nothing goes wrong. It will go wrong. Then 2 hours. You've got 90 minutes. Take your team and clear the path. Scout ahead. Everyone else defensive perimeter. They descended into darkness. Helmet lights cut through the black, revealing walls that pulsed like living flesh. The smell was awful. Rot and blood and something worse. Chemical, alien, the smell of nightmares. Moved ahead with his scout team. 5 soldiers, silent, quick. They used hand signals and minimal light, every sense on alert. The tunnel branched left and right, chose left, trusting his instincts. Something moved in the darkness. Raised his fist, stop. His team froze, he listened. Clicking sounds, scraping, something big, something close. A Ravager Praetorian stepped into the light. These weren't normal Ravagers. They were bigger, faster, covered in thicker armor. Elite warriors. 1 Praetorian could kill 5 normal coalition soldiers. Shot it in the head. The creature's skull exploded. It fell, but the sound brought more, lots more. Contact screamed into his comm. Praetorians multiple. They came from everywhere. The walls, the ceiling, holes that hadn't seen, 12 Praetorians. His team was 5 soldiers. Bad odds for the Praetorians. His rifle ran dry. He pulled his sidearm, kept shooting. When that was empty, he drew his knife. A Praetorian lunged at him, ducked under its claws and drove the blade into its throat. The creature thrashed, held on, riding it like a mechanical bull, stabbing again and again until it stopped moving. Another Praetorian grabbed him from behind. Claws dug into his shoulder, shredding his armor, roared and threw his head back, smashing his helmet into the creature's face. Once, twice, 3 times, the Praetorian's grip loosened, spun, yanked the knife free, and went for the eyes. His team fought with equal fury. A soldier named fought with a broken rifle, using it as a club. Another strangled a Praetorian with her bare hands while it tried to tear her apart. When the fight ended, all 5 humans were standing. All 12 Praetorians were dead, bled from a dozen wounds. His shoulder was a mess. He could barely lift his left arm. He reloaded his rifle anyway. Bravo team to command. Path is clear. Continue descent. Deeper they went. The hive opened into massive chambers, and in those chambers they found the horror, colonists, still alive, cocooned in organic webbing, being used as food, as incubators, as living storage for Ravager young. Medical emergency, was already moving, cutting colonists free. Most were unconscious, some were worse. "I need stretchers, get these people out." "No time," said grimly. "We extract them on our way out, mark their locations, keep moving." It was brutal, necessary. They couldn't save anyone if the mission failed. Marked each cocoon with a locator beacon. They'd come back, had to come back. Minyu reached the first structural support. It was massive, a pillar of bone and metal fused together. He placed charges carefully, setting timers and backups. If the primary detonation failed, redundant systems would trigger. Human engineering, over-designed, reliable. First charge set, moving to second position. That's when they found the other prisoners. The coalition soldiers captured in earlier battles. They'd been here for weeks, maybe months. The Ravagers had tried to break them, failed. These weren't just any soldiers, these were humans. 8 survivors, starved, wounded, delirious from pain and dehydration, but alive, still fighting. One of them, a corporal named, had lost his right hand to a Ravager claw. He'd fashioned a crude blade to his stump and killed 3 Ravagers with it. "Friendlies," called out, "we're here to extract you." Looked at like he was a ghost. "Took you long enough." "Can you walk?" "Can I fight?" Pulled out a spare rifle and tossed it to him. "Welcome back to the war, Corporal." The 8 freed prisoners grabbed weapons from the dead Ravagers. They were hurt, weak, barely able to stand. They stood anyway, because they were human, and humans didn't quit. The hive noticed the intrusion, all of it. Suddenly, every tunnel filled with Ravagers. Hundreds, thousands. They poured from the depths like a black tide. The humans found themselves surrounded, cut off from their extraction point. "Rally on me," ordered. "Defensive circle, make every shot count." 58 humans formed a ring in the largest chamber. They fired outward in all directions. The sound was deafening. Constant gunfire, explosions, screams from dying Ravagers. The creatures climbed over their own dead to reach the humans, and died on human blades when bullets ran out. Coordinated the left flank. Conserve ammo, controlled bursts, aim for the heads. Minyu still worked on the charges, setting them even while fighting. His hands moved with mechanical precision. Place charge, set timer, shoot Ravager, repeat. Multitasking at a level most species couldn't manage. Had set up her medical station in the center of the defensive ring. She worked on the wounded while others defended her. A Ravager broke through the line, shot it with her sidearm without looking up from her patient. "Someone seal that gap," she yelled. On it, a soldier named dove into the breach, firing her shotgun until the Ravagers stopped coming through. Then she held the position alone until reinforcements arrived. Was everywhere at once. He couldn't use his left arm anymore. His shoulder was destroyed. So he fought one-handed, shot Ravagers climbing the walls, threw grenades into their tunnel entrances. When one Praetorian got too close, he tackled it and they tumbled across the floor, trading blows that should have killed them both. Commander fought at the center, his rifle singing its deadly song. He'd trained for this his whole life. Every human had. Earth prepared them for hell. This was just another Tuesday. Minyu status. Last charge set. 60 seconds until we can blow this place. Everyone to the extraction point. Fighting retreat, lead them out. They moved as one, backing up while firing. Humans excelled at this. Tactical retreat under fire. Every military in Earth's history had perfected it. You didn't survive on a death world by standing still. You survived by adapting. The Ravagers pressed harder. They knew the humans were escaping, couldn't allow it. Wave after wave crashed against human lines. Wave after wave broke against human will. Then they reached the chamber that changed everything. The Hive Queen's throne room. She was massive, 30 feet long, covered in armor that looked impenetrable, surrounded by her royal guard, 100 Praetorians, the elite of the elite. "We have to go through her," said, stating the obvious. "Then we go through her," replied. 43 humans stood at the entrance to that chamber. In their way was an army. Behind them, the countdown to detonation ticked down. 90 seconds. 89, 88. For Earth roared. For Earth, 43 voices answered. They charged. 43 humans against 100 Praetorians and a hive queen. The math was simple, impossible, exactly the kind of odds humans loved. They hit the Ravager line like a hammer. No fancy tactics, no clever tricks, just raw violence and refusal to die. Bullets tore through chitin. Grenades shattered claws. Human soldiers fought with a fury that came from 3 million years of survival on a world that wanted them dead. Led from the front, his rifle empty so he'd switch to his sidearm. Beside him, fought with mechanical precision, every shot placed perfectly. Every movement economy in motion. Behind them, the team spread out into a wedge formation, pushing deeper into the chamber. The Praetorians were elite warriors. They'd trained their entire lives for combat. They'd killed hundreds of coalition soldiers, but they'd never fought death before, and it showed. A Praetorian slashed at a human soldier named. The claws caught his chest plate, tearing through metal and flesh beneath. Grunted, stumbled back one step, then shot the Praetorian in the face. The creature fell, kept fighting, blood soaking his uniform. He'd worry about dying later. Right now he was busy. Sergeant Minu moved through the chaos like a dancer, placing small charges on structural weak points. Even in the middle of a battle, he was still working, still calculating. When a Praetorian came at him, he didn't run. He pressed the detonator for a charge he'd placed 2 minutes ago. The explosion collapsed part of the ceiling onto 3 Praetorians. "That's 5 for me," he shouted over the noise. "Show off," someone yelled back. The freed prisoners fought with desperate strength. They'd been captives, tortured, starved. Now they had weapons and enemies and nothing left to lose. Corporal, with his blade stump hand, fought like something from a nightmare. He'd learned new ways to kill during his captivity. Now he showed the Ravagers every single one. Couldn't use his left arm at all anymore. The shoulder was destroyed, bone visible, muscles torn. He'd switched his rifle to his right side and kept fighting. When a Praetorian knocked the weapon from his hand, pulled a knife with his teeth and went low, slashing at the creature's legs. It fell, stabbed until it stopped moving. "Fall back," ordered. "You're bleeding out." "I'll bleed out when we're done here, sir." Had set up a mobile triage point behind a fallen pillar. Wounded soldiers came to her, got patched enough to keep fighting, and went back into the battle. A soldier named came in with her arm hanging by threads, injected her with painkillers and stimulants. "This will keep you going for another 30 minutes, said. "That's all we need," replied. She grabbed her rifle left-handed and rejoined the fight. The Hive Queen watched from her throne. She'd seen coalition species fight before. They broke. They ran. They died. These creatures didn't. She made a decision and rose from her throne. If her guards couldn't stop the invaders, she would. The Queen was massive, fast, intelligent. She'd survived 1,000 battles, killed 10,000 enemies. She moved through her own guards like they weren't there, focused entirely on the humans. Saw her coming. Queen's active, all fire on the Queen. 20 rifles turned toward the massive creature. Bullets sparked off her armor. They damaged it, cracked it in places, but didn't penetrate. The Queen screeched and charged. Dove left, rolled right. The Queen's claws tore through the stone floor where they'd been standing. She was faster than anything that size had a right to be. Her tail whipped around, catching 3 soldiers and sending them flying. "Minu, can we blow her?" "Not without bringing the whole chamber down on us." "That's not a no." The Queen focused on. She'd learned to recognize leaders. Kill the commander, break the unit. It worked on every species. She lunged at him with all 4 claws extended. Didn't run, he charged toward her, stupid, suicidal, exactly what she didn't expect. At the last second, he slid under her massive body, firing his sidearm into her softer underbelly. The bullets punched through, not lethal, but painful. The Queen screamed and spun, trying to crush him. Rold came up shooting. Around him, his soldiers concentrated fire on the wounds he'd created. Bullets tore deeper. Ichor sprayed. But the Queen wasn't done. She grabbed with one claw, lifting her off the ground. The armor crumpled. Bones cracked, screamed. The Queen's mandibles opened wide, ready to bite her in half. Corporal came out of nowhere. He'd climbed onto the Queen's back somehow, his blade stump raised high. He brought it down into the Queen's eye. The creature shrieked and dropped, trying to shake off. He held on with his remaining hand, stabbing again and again. The blade went deep into the soft tissue behind the eye. The Queen thrashed wildly, was thrown clear, hitting the ground hard. The Queen staggered, one eye gone but still alive, still deadly. 30 seconds to detonation, Minyu announced. We need to leave. We're not done yet, reloaded his last magazine. Around him, his soldiers did the same. Empty weapons were discarded, knives drawn, bare hands clenched into fists. If they were going to die, they'd die fighting. The Queen, wounded and furious, made her own last stand. She crashed forward, abandoning defense for pure offense. Claws tore through humans. Her tail caught 2 soldiers, breaking them against the walls. Her remaining eye blazed with hatred. But humans had something the Queen didn't, something no Ravager understood. They had each other. When one fell, 3 more took their place. When the Queen focused on one soldier, 5 others attacked from different angles. It wasn't about individual strength. It was about the pack, the unit, the family. Private, using his last bit of strength, threw himself at the Queen's damaged eye socket. His knife plunged deep, deeper. The Queen tried to shake him off, but he held on, driving the blade into her brain. The Queen collapsed, 30 feet of armored death crashing to the ground, dead. 20 seconds, Minyu screamed, "Run!" They ran, carrying their wounded, dragging the freed prisoners. Nobody left behind, ever. The chamber shook as the first charges detonated deep in the hive. The ceiling cracked, debris fell. Ran with over her shoulder. The captain was unconscious, badly hurt but alive. "Come on, stay with me, just a little further." Was the last one out of the Queen's chamber. He turned back once, saw the massive body lying still, then ran. His legs burned. His lungs screamed. 1G gravity had trained him for this. Earth had trained him for this. 10 seconds. They reached the main tunnel, climbed, ran upward. Behind them, the hive collapsed. A chain reaction. Every charge Minyu had set went off in sequence. Perfectly timed, perfectly placed. The organic structure imploded, crushing everything inside. 5 seconds. They burst out of the hive entrance into the ruined city, kept running, put distance between them and the collapsing hive. The ground shook. Buildings that were already damaged fell completely. Dust filled the air. 0. The hive entrance erupted like a volcano. Fire and debris shot into the sky. The entire underground complex collapsed. 5,000 Ravagers died in an instant. Their breeding operation destroyed. Their queen dead. 43 humans stood in the dust and smoke, watching the destruction. They'd lost 7 during the final push. 7 soldiers who'd given everything. Their bodies were brought out, carried by their friends. Nobody left behind. Coalition appeared in the sky. Medical teams. Extraction units. They'd been watching from orbit. Every military academy in the galaxy had watched. The footage was already spreading across the Coalition networks. Was on the first down. He stepped out and walked to where stood, covered in blood and dust and glory. The general said nothing at first, just looked at the destroyed hive, at the humans who'd done the impossible. "Your report, Commander." "Mission accomplished, sir. Hive destroyed. 43 combat effective. 7 KIA. 53 civilians rescued from the cocoons. 8 coalition prisoners recovered." His voice was steady, professional, like he just completed a routine patrol instead of a suicide mission. "You were supposed to die," said quietly. "We're not very good at following those kinds of orders, sir." His mandibles clicked rapidly. Respect, admiration, fear. "I watched the entire operation, the Hive Queen, the Praetorians, all of it. I watched you charge an army that should have killed you 10 times over." "They tried, sir. We just didn't cooperate." The general pulled up his. "I need to file a report with Coalition High Command. What should I tell them about humans?" Looked at his soldiers, at being treated for his destroyed shoulder, grinning despite the pain, at working on keeping her stable, at Minu already checking his remaining explosives ready for the next mission, at and the other freed prisoners battered but unbroken, at his team, his family, his pack. "Tell them we're exactly what they need, sir. Tell them humans don't break, don't surrender, don't quit. Tell them we're survivors from a death world, and that makes us the most dangerous soldiers in the galaxy." "I'll tell them more than that," started typing. "I'll tell them I sent 50 humans into a hive to complete a suicide mission. They went in. They completed it, with acceptable losses, with impossible courage. These human soldiers are fucking beasts." The report went out immediately. Within hours, every coalition species had seen the footage. The charge into the Queen's chamber, the fight against impossible odds, the refusal to yield even when death was certain. The Ravager horde intercepted the transmissions. They added a new entry to their tactical database. Human units were to be avoided when possible, engaged with extreme caution when necessary. They coded humans as Death World predators, as apex species, as never surrender. The galaxy would remember this day, the day humanity proved it belonged among the stars, not as victims, not as the weak who needed protection, but as warriors, as the beasts who would never, ever break. Back on Earth, recruitment centers were overwhelmed. Millions wanted to join, to fight, to show the galaxy what death could do. The Coalition had asked for 500 soldiers. Earth would send them 50,000. Then 500,000, an army of survivors, an army of predators. Commander, promoted to general on the battlefield, addressed the new recruits via video link. His face was tired, proud. "They call us beasts," he said. "Monsters, Death World spawn. They say we're too violent, too aggressive, too stubborn to know when we're beaten." He paused, letting that sink in. "They're right. We are all those things because Earth made us that way. Every predator, every disease, every disaster, every challenge that should have killed us. They made us stronger instead." The recruits cheered. The galaxy needed heroes. They got humans instead. We're not perfect. We're not invincible, but we're survivors. And that's what the galaxy needs. So when you go out there, remember where you came from. Remember what made us. And show them what happens when you evolve on a world that refuses to let you quit. On forward base, Sigma watched Earth's recruitment numbers climb. He'd requested 500 soldiers. Earth was sending millions. The coalition military structure would have to change, adapt, because humanity wasn't joining the war. Humanity was changing it. "Are we ready for this?" his aide asked. "No," replied honestly, "but the Ravagers aren't ready either, and that's the point." Private, his shoulder finally in a proper cast, sat with Corporal and Sergeant Minu. They watched the sun set on Praxis 7, now saved, now safe. The rescued civilians were being evacuated. The freed prisoners were getting proper medical treatment. The dead were being prepared for burial with honors. "Think they'll give us another impossible mission?" asked. "Probably," said. "Good," Minu grinned. "I was getting bored." They laughed, tired, hurt, unbroken, because they were human, and humans didn't know how to quit. The galaxy had issued them an impossible challenge. They'd responded the only way they knew how, by surviving it, by winning it, by proving that sometimes the best weapon wasn't the biggest gun or the strongest armor. Sometimes the best weapon was simply refusing to lose. The camera pulled back, showing the ruined city, the destroyed hive, the 53 soldiers who'd done the impossible, and above them, ships carrying more humans, more warriors, more Death World survivors ready to show the galaxy what 3 million years of evolution in hell had created. The beasts had awakened, and the war would never be the same.